when I knew nothing about what I was doing. You know what I mean? It was trial and error, some money wasted, but I was trying to get my feet wet. And then you're looking for somebody who I guess will take a chance on you. You know, I mean, somebody who was like, hey, you know what? I want to work with you and see. I'll tell her all the time, I think that we got lucky in working with each other, because she was, I think at that time, she was working with another producer, and it was kind of like trying to figure out what she wanted to do. And so when she came to me, I told her, I was like, you know, I'm really just getting started in this thing, and I really don't know really what I'm doing too much. But I told her, I said, if you're not serious about it, if you're not serious, don't come asking me to do this, because I'm not going to do it. And if you're an artist or if you're a producer and you're serious about your craft, don't waste your time with people who do it as like, oh, this is just for fun. I do it in my spare time. You know, we all do it in our spare time. But if this is something that you're serious about, you need to find like-minded people who are willing to get in and grind with you.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, go ahead.
And no, I was just going to piggyback off that. One of the things that kind of caught me off guard, because I remember or sit at Logan's or some steakhouse or something.
Outback.
Yeah, that's what it
Outback.
was. And I remember thinking, oh, we're friends. He's cool. He's super talented. He'll be able to do it, you know, whatever. So I walk in expecting him to be like, yeah, let's do it. We sit down and I lay it all out. I want to put an album out. I want to do this, whatever. I'm, you know, chilling. And he's like, I don't, you know, I need to know that you're serious. And the fact that it almost made me have to rise to a certain level of expectation to show that I was serious. And because I think our relationship as a working relationship would have been way different had we just kind of jumped in and me not how serious he was or what he expected. Hey, side note, I meant to say this in the very beginning. If you guys have questions, either for us now or for Aaron when he comes on later, feel free to just pop those in the chat. We can see them now. And I hate everybody that's been saying hey on here. Sorry. I feel like I'm doing 85 things at one time. So sometimes I kind of miss over them. But yeah, so like he was saying earlier, just knowing that you guys are taking each other serious. One of the questions, LeBron, and I'll just kind of throw it out, and if you have something to say, you can say it. But one of the questions that got asked specifically were kind of how we set expectations for each other as an artist or producer. You know, was that a conversation, or was that just something that's understood? Because I think going into it, I didn't really understand what the role of a producer was. I thought I need my music done, so naturally I need a producer, thinking that was just all of it. So what were expectations, or what are some expectations that when you start working with, I guess you can go from the producer side and then I can go from mine, but like, what do you expect from an artist when they do first start working with you?
From an artist, for me, like I said, number one is that you're serious about your craft, because I'm not going to put, some people, you know, they may say, if you pay me X amount of dollars, I'm going to get a check and I'm going to go on. That's not how I like to operate. Your name is going to precede you. It's going to go ahead of you. And if you are known as a person who, you know, is putting out work that it's kind of like, I got a check and this is what all the check required and move on. People who have real talent and who are serious, they're going to overlook you, because your resume is what they hear in your work. That's your resume. And if it's, you know, half done or the details aren't paid attention to, that makes the difference. That's what separates people. You could be the most amazing musician, producer, vocalist, whatever, but if it sounds or feels lazy, people are going to overlook that. You know what I mean? So for me, it's not about just getting a check. Yes, you want to be compensated for your work, but what you put out is what people are going to attach to you. So you want to make sure it's good. So for me, from an artist, I got to know, hey, are you willing to work? Is this something that you want to do? And it's going to take money, time, and investment. So I expect that artist to be serious about what they want to do. And then from like a musical standpoint, you know, when you come to a musician or to a producer, to have some ideas that you want to do. I've worked with people before that say, hey, I want to record a project. And they get to me and there's nothing, and they expect me to just magically create something from zero. I'm like, you're the artist. You know, I'm making your vision come to life. You know what I mean? I'm not going to write your whole record for you, because now basically it's mine. I need to put it out myself. You know what I mean? So for a producer, if you're an artist coming to a producer, have something that you're already bringing to the table to steer that producer in a direction and where you want to go. Then from there, it's the give and take. It's the like, hey, I like this, you like this, we like this, or let's change this. Then that was when the conversation started. But don't come to a producer just because you feel like you have a gift to sing with nothing to bring to the table, because that's not going to work.
Yeah. I was going to say also, I know when I put my music out or work on anything or demos and stuff, LeBron's the one that I always go to just because of our working relationship already. That doesn't mean that you have to work with the same person all the time. I just think, there's a benefit to someone who, because we were even talking the other day, listening through my very first album.
Yeah, Lord Jesus.
Any of you guys that have been doing this for a little while will realize that your skill level has changed a little. Hopefully has changed since you first started. And my God, that album is no longer on Spotify or available to any other ears but ours. Right. But when we first started, we thought, God, we did it. This is it. We about to win our Grammys. We're done. But just being able to look back and see that growth of just like, okay, I've been working with LeBron, so we can look back and say, what did we not like about this? What do we think we could do to make it better this next time? Is this my sound? I was going to say the expectation that I guess that I have from him as my producer is honesty being the biggest part, even when it's stuff that I don't want to hear. And I say that now, maybe I'm putting my foot in my mouth or setting me up for something later because, but, just being able to say, hey, here's a song. Is this single material? Is this a demo? Should I just get it to somebody else? Several times, and he's told me, hey, this song, this is not a you song. This is not your style, your voice, or whatever. I say we use it as a demo, pitch it to somebody else. And that can sting a little bit, especially when it's a song that you thought was meant for you. But looking back, seeing even the demo that we did, I'm like, oh yeah, we got to find somebody that fits this song. We did a whole album, last year, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Just about all the money and time and effort and energy. And then both sat down together, knowing what my sound is as an artist. We both knew it wasn't like brand new to him where I just came to him, and we were able to see, okay, this isn't it. Like, this is not me. So those are all demos now.
Yeah.
Broke my heart a little bit, but it's okay. But honesty is one of the biggest things I think as far as production. Aside from that, as far as like practical things, I think would be sitting down and talking through the expectations of each other. Like, okay, LeBron, as a producer, what is your role? What do you do exactly? Yeah. Because I know a lot of people do different things to different people. So maybe, I don't know, maybe you could, there's a question on here, but maybe you can share like what a producer actually does, not just everything. But
whenever I first started off into production, I used to think that I literally had to do everything, all of it. I'm like, I'm not producing the record if I don't do all of it. And the older you get and the more mature you get, and then the more projects you dive into, you realize you're just one person and you can't do everything. Even from an artist perspective, if you're an artist, you were like, this has to be my material, it has to be my thing all the time, and I can never do anything else. And you will, wear yourself out, drive yourself into the ground, and you'll want to quit and give up. Especially if you're like extremely talented and there's a big demand on you, people are drawing from you, you're only one person. When I let go of that thought process and that mindset and started to collaborate with other producers, there are some things that I'm not good at. Like, I know what I'm good at and that I do well. I have friends that do other things better than I can. There's nothing wrong with the collaboration. I think people want, I had to get over the fact that I'm the only name I want on this because I did it and it's mine and it's my baby. But hence the whole thing about Riding Rounds. The whole thing about Riding Rounds is collaboration, community. You know what I mean? Share, give and take. And as a producer, when I learned to give things away and delegate some things that I know I'm not good at, it's not a bad thing. It's not me taking a hit like I'm not creative anymore. I'm not a super talented beat maker, like all these super big, heavy sub drops and 808s, but I have friends of mine that's the world they live in all the time. You know what I mean? And so we collaborate on things and they call me, and vice versa. From a producer standpoint, a producer's role is to see the project through to completion. when the artist or whoever comes to you and says, hey, I want to do this, you now, and they've hired you as a producer, artist, if you hire a producer, it is their job to see your vision to completion. So if that means you have to outsource a couple things to get the artist's vision to come to life, that's okay. But it's my responsibility. If Jessica comes to me with a song, and it's some rock tune, I don't produce rock music. I appreciate rock music, but that's not my forte. So what I would do, I have friends that live in that world. So I would go call them, hey man, there's this song that I have. Here's the nuts and bolts of it. Here's progression, here's the feel, but I need you to help me because I want to be true to that genre. You know what I mean? I don't want to make rock sound like R&B gospel. You know what I mean? It's not rock no more. You know what I mean? So being able to collaborate. So for a producer's overall main job is to just see the artist's vision to completion from from conception. That's it. From conception to completion.
There you go. I couldn't think of it either.
I was trying to get there.
But I think this question kind of piggybacks off something that you're saying. So there's a question about the best way to communicate a vibe for a song that you're wanting. He knows I don't play an instrument at all. I'm not very good at
She plays piano a little bit. She don't claim it though.
He's lying. But like when I have a feel for a song, sometimes it can be kind of hard to kind of share, what I'm hearing. So he'll always ask me, can you tell me an artist or a track, or is there a song that kind of has that sound or that feel that you're wanting? And maybe you can describe that a little better, but that's the only thing that I really can think that we've talked about as far as being able to show what I'm hearing for something.
Okay, so let's back up a little bit. So when you find a producer, if you're an artist, find a producer find an artist. If you know that you all work well together and can develop a chemistry, you need to stick with that person. Because if bare minimum, just somebody that you can communicate your real raw thoughts to. You know what I mean? If you're working with somebody new, you're going to be afraid to be like, share your ideas with. But if you're scared, then you're going to end up not being happy. If you're scared to say what you want, you're going to end up not being happy because you're trying to be all cute and reserved. You have to say it. Don't be afraid. Listen, I've sent her stuff before. I said, y'all have this idea, and I'm literally beatboxing in the phone. Like, man, here's the feels, like, and just to get her to like feel it with me. It sounds crazy, and you may feel like I know I'm crazy. She probably thinks I'm ignorant, but sometimes that's the only way that you can get the feel and what you're hearing across. And if she's sending me something like that, we send voice notes. She said, LeBron, I have this idea. And she'll sing a melody with no lyric or just say a lyric with no melody. And I may have just like 2 weeks ago been dabbling with something on my own, but like, yo, what if we put this together with this? And that's how this thing starts to get created. But you can't be afraid to say what you want. And it's okay. I understand. I've worked with different artists. She's worked with different producers. There's certain people you'd be like, you know what? It was a great experience, but I'm probably not going to come back this way again. And that's okay. But when you find that person that you work well with, that can kind of get inside your head, what we like to say, like, you hear what I hear, we vibe. You want to hold on to that, even if you work with other producers or other artists.
Yeah, and I remember before I met with him to actually ask if he would produce that album, I was working with somebody beforehand, and I've learned better since then to leave relationships off on a good foot, as opposed to kind of cutting things off and just be like, that ain't gonna work, I'm done. I used to be, I still kind of am super passive on like my thought or opinion on something when it comes to music, because I always thought my ideas were stupid. But I'm the artist, like, however it is that I needed to get it across. Sometimes I would sit and I was about to say, somebody said the other day, how did Give Me Jesus start, the latest song that we did. And I actually sent him me singing that song to a different track. I said, we can't use this, but this is the feel that I want on the song. And from there, he took that and made it our own, made it something completely different. Where now I'm looking at that track like, oh, we took it and made it something way better. But that's another kind of avenue that I have been going with.
And if you're the artist, remember, if you're hiring a producer, you are the boss. The artist is the executive producer. So if you're ever looking at like credits on a record or something, you see like executive producer and you normally see like the artist name. They are the one that, the reason why It's All even came about. You all carry the thing. So like if she comes to me with a song, like we're forever working. We have a music that we haven't even started on yet. And I'm late, so she's mad at me because we haven't got there yet, but we'll get there. But she's the boss. And she said, hey, LeBron, this is kind of how I'm feeling this. This is how I want it. I may send her a reference and she may hurt my feelings, be like, that's really not the direction I want to go. I'll never forget whenever we were working on this song called Grave Clothes. Originally, I had just got out of a session that was super heavy gospel sounding, right? So when she brought it to me, there was this one part in the song that I was like, oh, this would be dope to do like this. And she was looking, I could tell the look on her face was like, that's really not what I'm talking about. So I could see, I'm like, okay, she's not feeling this, you know what I mean? And she told me, she said, LeBron, it sounds like you're trying to go churchy on this song. That's not really, but she's able to tell me that, and she's the boss. My job as a producer is to make her vision come to life.
And sometimes it takes a little while to kind of build that level of comfort to be able to say stuff like that. So I see like some of you, and Jesse, I see your question. I'm going to get it in just a second. I promise I have not forgotten you. I could never. But I see someone saying it's difficult to find someone that can hear what you're hearing. And that can be a frustrating process. However, I think that it's so worth the wait and so worth the kind of, going through and working with somebody. Okay, it didn't work. Be honest and just say, I honestly don't think that this is how it's going to go, and find somebody else that can do it instead of just like working with whatever you're dealt with. That's not going to work. Another thing that I love, and he even said it now, is, sometimes people can try to tell you the sound that you should have instead of you going with your gut, which is what I think I made a mistake on the first album with. Was because, most people, when they hear your voice, will kind of tell you, oh, you sound like so-and-so, you should do a song like this. You sound like so-and-so, you should be doing this. So people assume that I do gospel music, and I don't sing gospel. I'm not churchy. I don't holler. I don't run. I don't dance. I don't do any of that. And he knows that. So when we get ready, don't laugh at me. I just don't do it. Nothing bad. I think it's cool. It's cool. You worship how you want to, but when I bring him stuff, we'll start working on things, and he knows my sound is not churchy gospel, so he's not going to go that route at all. When I know that even talking to some people who have asked to work on something that I'm working on will send me something back, and I'm like, oh God, they don't know me at all. So I think, to me, that's one of the biggest benefits of working with somebody that kind of knows your sound. Maybe we'll take this question here, and then we'll pass off to the, actually, we might can.
Hey, Ron, what's up, Captain? He's in the building.
What up?
What up?
Come on in.
Glad you're here, Brody.
Yeah.
For sure, man, for sure.
You want to just wait and say, let's just wait and say that and ask.
Yeah, we'll wait.
Whenever we start.
Yeah, we'll wait.
Aaron Lewis has made it in. Everybody, I know that's who y'all really wanted to come in and see.
The GOAT.
No way.
Yeah, way, man.
But
you guys don't have to stop. I want to hear what y'all talking about. That's why I got on here a little bit early. I want to know what's going on.
He tried to ease on it.
Right.
Okay. Well, Aaron, then I'm gonna go ahead and set up the question that was just asked, and then let LeBron share, and then maybe you can kind of piggyback off what this question as well. So Jesse's asking, how detailed should the track that you bring to a producer be? Should the writer or artist be making the full arrangement prior to meeting with you, or can you break down what you expect exactly for them to actually bring physically to you?
Well, I've received files every type of way. It can be from a voice note with just a vocal and nothing to it. It helps a producer if if there's some type of structure, because we kind of get inside your head, especially if I've never worked with that artist before and kind of can hear the direction that they want to go in. But if you have something like the nuts and bolts, if you play a little bit of acoustic or a little bit of guitar, you just have this kind of like the feel I'm looking for, the kind of progression. It just kind of points us in a direction, and then we can start to imagine things. But that's not the say all be all. If you have a melody and a lyric and a feel, that can also point us in a direction too. But then that's what starts the creation process, the arrangements and things like that, and then we go back and forth. But it don't have to be some super decorated thing. That's the reason why you went to a producer in the first place, is to kind of get something started down the road and to get a feel for it, and then you start to create and see what happens from there.
And he nailed it. He nailed it on the spot. Basically, to add to that, because he basically said everything. If you don't want me to get any of your writings and publishing,
correct. Yeah, listen, I try to say everything but that part.
you
Yeah.
don't want to get none of your writings and publishing and stuff, give me as much as you can.
Right.
Give me as much, because if you don't, the more you can possibly lose. Because that way, we writing with you at that point. Once I start taking this from here and taking this from there to make it fit what I need to fit, I'm helping you now. So now you got to give me something back. Y'all feel me? So everything he said was Johnny on the spot. I'll just add that little piece to that, because if you don't want the more you give me, the less the writings or publishing people going to ask for. And you want to try to get as much publishing and stuff that you can. And then sometimes when you're a new artist, I mean, you do what you need to do. Everything is your decision at that point. But if you don't want that producer or that artist getting the piece of your pie, bring as much as you can to the table.
Correct.
That's good. That's good. Melanie also had a question, which I think, it kind of goes with what you're talking about now with rights and publishing and all that other stuff. So we've had several people actually send in questions as to how that would work with production. So if the producer helps with changing lyrics and arrangement, do they become a co-writer? Yes. Yes. LeBron and I already work together on everything anyway. Most of the stuff that I write usually has like 2 or 3 lines that I'm stuck on, and he's just the genius of filling in all that stuff. And I'm like, how do you do that? I overcomplicate everything. But I bring it to him, he'll work on stuff, and then together we're just on that co-write. We've established an agreement between the 2 of us beforehand to say, hey, let's split it evenly, let's do this and this and this, whatever. So it's not a question later on of, oh, wait a minute, I wrote that chorus, trying to figure that out later. And, that's similar to what we do in writing rounds of splitting things evenly. But as Aaron, is it different with every person that you work with? How do you do that with splits and rights and credits and stuff like that?
Well, that is so tedious, and it's a headache. All that right there, publishing and writing stuff, is a headache because technically, by law, if you have a melody in the lyrics, Mary had a little lamb, you the writer, you everything, you got it, that's it. But I think they're not giving you the fairness part of it, though, because if you go to a person like myself and whoever that you will work with, or LeBron, it's like, we're taking that Mary Had a Little Lamb to another planet, not even just another level. We're going to another planet. Like, it's just not, it's going to be to another planet. So it's like, I'm taking it to another level, and all I'm getting is how much I charge. And then you get lifetime money, and I took it to another planet. So I'm in a different perspective when it comes to that. If I feel like I'm taking this song to another level before I even start this production, I'm like, yo, hey man, here's the piano and here's the drum click. I'm gonna take this is where I'm going. And you cool with me getting 35 or 45%, because what you just sent me was cool, but I didn't flip the whole song because we were missing this particular type of song on the record. I took your song and made it the song that was needed for the record. If you see what I'm saying, instead of the song going like this, I'm making it go. So right there, I didn't flip the whole song. I just cut it in time. So I'm like, man, I hear the song like this. Right. So at the end of the day, right there, I'm already transforming the song. That's my perspective on it. Now, the law part, you sing the melody, you got it, but different people have perspectives on it. But my perspective, I'm going to come to you in the beginning and say, yo, this is what it is. And then if you say no, I just move on to another person. Or I fly down to wherever I need to go and do the track or write the song myself. So at the end of the day, do you lose that? It's your call,
So for every producer and artist in here, that's why it's important to have these conversations up front.
Yeah.
If you wait until records are out and then people think, oh, my song isn't going to do anything and let it ride. But then all of a sudden, 3 years later, your song blows up and somebody records it, and now you're having to have these conversations, and you didn't have the business fixed on the front end. And I know, especially if you're working with your friends, it's hard to have that conversation about contracts and split sheets and things like that. But it is very important to make sure that stuff is established on the front end so that you're not having to do cleanup duty down the road.
Especially when you're working with different people. You know, like songwriters in here, we think of that typically in every co-write. You know, you expect to sit down and talk about that in the front. It's the same way with a producer. Because we work together so much, we've established something already that we'll maintain for each thing. Not that it can't be revisited or changed based on other stuff. But if you're starting out with a producer, especially, like having those conversations in the beginning can also set the tone for how comfortable you are with sharing stuff. I mean, it can change the whole dynamic if you're doing all of that up front. Don't wait until it comes up in a conversation to finally share your opinion on it. Oh, by the way, I was thinking, I'm probably not going to give you any credit because I did this as no, that's not going to work.
No.
Not going to work, for sure.
That's not going to work, dude.
Well, then I'm keeping all these files. You can't have the, you know,
Right.
don't make it messy if it doesn't have to be. Make it all clear up at the top. Then you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff later. And it's just figuring out the creative part after that, not so much the business. And that also helps with the creative because you don't have that hanging over your head of figuring out, you know, what's going to happen after this is done.
So, Aaron, let me ask you a question. So, for everybody in the Zoom, so let's say an artist, they've recorded a record already, it's done, but let's say they recorded it, you know, 8 years or not a year ago, but the quality wasn't good. The arrangements was dope, everything was great, and they want it to be exactly like it is, but they just want it sonically to sound better. What's your process after that?
Well, to be honest, and I don't want to sound arrogant when I say this, y'all, so don't take me as being arrogant, okay? But I don't want to take over from what somebody already started. I don't want to, I hope I don't sound arrogant, but you give me a track that's already done and be like, yo, man, take this. I'm good enough to start it from zero. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I don't want to take his vision because I got to like bounce off of his vision. And then, but what if I hear that the chord should be a major 7 or a minor 6 right here, or I don't even like that bridge. What? You know? So it's like, no, I'm gonna either pass, be like, nah, I don't want to do that, and I hear the song and I say, yo, this is gonna charge. This is what I'm gonna charge to do this and do that, and maybe we can rescale the song. But I'm not with starting off of somebody else's stuff. If I do start off with it, I'm probably gonna start with the click and the drum machine. That's it. So it's not gonna be no chords or no, not even the vocals or nothing like that, because I have a standard, you know, and you do too. I mean, we got a standard of how things need to sound and how things need to go. And it's easier for me to do it over than start it in the middle at the end of somebody else's vision already. So I can get it done much faster beyond the starting from zero and starting from where they already have it. So, you know, especially with the team musicians and stuff I use, and that's another thing. Like, you're gonna hear different people playing it. You hear a different type of bass player, or you hear a different type of vibe, or a different type of vocalist, or the background vocals are not, the diction not right, or they pitchy. Ooh, that would drive me crazy. Yeah, man, it would drive me crazy, y'all. I'll be going nuts. My ears would be going crazy. I just couldn't. No, I couldn't do it. You know. What about you? How would you do it?
Same. Yeah, you know. Now let me ask you a question. Let's say you get an artist that approaches you that you never worked with before, and they say, "Hey, I want you to produce my record." What does that conversation look like? That initial conversation.
Well, the initial conversation, I'm grateful for anybody that called me. It can be from the top artist all the way down to the indie artist, to somebody. Y'all excuse me, because I just got braces, so I'm trying to like get my lips and stuff together. Don't try to laugh at me. I'm trying to get my body together, but braces tearing me up. But that conversation, basically, I'm grateful for whatever anybody that called me, from an indie artist to the top artist, and then from there, basically, I want to see you know, I want to hear them. Like, I'm like, yo, you on YouTube, you got some clips of you singing in the club or the church or outside with your sisters and cousins or at the dinner table or in the shower, you got the phone on the bed or something. I just want to hear you. I want to see what you bring to the table. And then that way I can kind of envision it. And then from there, if I'm cool with just your sound, because at first it's not even with money, I got to be able to picture myself like, man, I could take this person to a higher height or another level. And then from there, it's basically like, okay, man, where the songs? We need to know first. After that, I want to like see you visually. Like, have you performed somewhere? What you doing with this record? Like, where your mindset? What you want to do with this record? Do you just want to do a CD and be done? Do you want to go on tour? Are you trying to travel? Whatever. Where are you going? Then once I do that, I gotta learn this person without them being there. So I want to go on YouTube and see where they performed at without them telling me. So I want to see the energy level they bring live. I want to see the lyrics of their songs. I want to see the production of their tracks, or, you know, just the kind of vibe. That way I can tune into them, because I don't want to produce Aaron with Sheila. You know, I don't want Sheila to be Aaron, the artist. Like, my production is not supposed to be Aaron. You're supposed to hear me. You're supposed to hear my sound, but I want to produce them. I want to produce that artist. So I got to do my homework as a producer on what they do, how they do it, when they do it, what's their favorite run, what keys they sing in, all that. I'm talking about now 100 yards, the whole thing. And after that, then it's songs and then it's budgets. Because I can't get the budget of the record or the budget of the song without hearing the song. So it's like, I can't say, yo, man, I'm charging $5,000 and I want to put a full orchestra on it, and the orchestra costs $5,000 by themselves.
Right.
So it's like, at the end of the day, you know, the song tells me the budget, you know, so.
So what does that tough conversation look like when you hear someone and realize that sound is not what you're trying to be working with? Like, not necessarily like their talent's awful, but I'm sure that a lot of other things come into play. Like, is it just strictly their voice? Like, what does the conversation look like if you were to decide, okay, I'm not going to work with this person? For the producers that are in here that are trying to kind of juggle that thing too.
Well, to really be honest, and I'm always going to be honest, I can't help it. Sometimes I'll ask them to do one song, because I want to actually push myself to see if I can push them to the max. So it's like trying to push me as a producer to make this production still make them shine. Meaning that sometimes a person that can't sing very well, you know, maybe you give them a different type of melody to sing that verse, or maybe the production is a little bit more musical to make them shine a little bit more. Right. Or maybe in the mix you put an extra reverbs on them and make them feel like they sling.
Yeah, right.
So, you know, and then you got to get somebody that tune them real good. You get somebody that tune them real good. Right now, you can make anything or anybody sound really good, but first you still got to get the recording of it, the passion of it. You got to get the conviction of it. So as much as we tune, we still got to get that conviction, you know, at the end of the day. So, you know, man, I push myself as a producer to still, you know, make the artist shine. Like, I want to always make the artist shine. So I would probably agree to do one song. I don't know if I would take myself through multiple songs and all that, but, you know, I'll definitely be calling some of the other homies to chime in to help do some production or something on somebody else's record. But I would probably do one song, to be honest.
So obviously, you also write. So let's say an artist comes to you and they love your sound and what you do, but they want to just write with you more so than cut the record. Maybe it's for a pitch, or they want to put together a demo to pitch to an artist or whatever. What is your process with co-writes from producer to artist?
That's actually a good question. You know, and I don't want to feel arrogant again, y'all, but it's very hard to, because I know I'm a writer as well. When I'm creating and co-writing with somebody, it's normally for a record, you know. I've had people wanted me to do, some co-writes. And basically, when you get me, Aaron Lewis, you getting a whole lot, because me to sit at the piano, you get an arrangement, because the arrangement itself is the production, because you can build off just the piano and the click. You can build a whole machine, a whole song off of what I'm about to do. So me, I'm like, I'm always detailed in how I'm getting to this section, how I'm getting to that section. So you basically, off my demo, is getting the production. So why not I produce it?
Right.
So that's just my interpretation of it. It's very hard for me to just co-write. I had a few of them, but eventually it was like, hey, Ryan, we want you to produce a song too. So I haven't had that one where I was just a co-writer. Well, you know what? I have, y'all. One time, one of my homies, he played with me on the road. Our musical director for this artist, and he plays second keys. So one time at this live concert, I flipped the groove. I flipped the vamp of this groove. We going hard in the arena. I flipped the groove. Everybody going crazy, right? So he's a producer himself. So he had this other song with this other top artist, because person I play with, everybody play for everybody. They play for some everybody. So he called me and said, yo, Aaron, that groove that you had made up, I want to put this on the end of this group for this other artist. And I'm like, what you sharing?
Right.
What you sharing? And so he was like, I'm getting 50% of the song. I'll give you 25% of my portion. So that's me getting 25% of the song, and don't have nothing to do with the song. I heard the song lately, but a year before it came out, I was like, I didn't know what the song was gonna sound like. I do remember that groove, but for him to call me and say, yo, Aaron, I'm gonna put that groove that you had on this song for another artist. So that's probably the only one that I've ever co-written with somebody else, but I wasn't even there. It was just like they took the groove that I did on the vamp and just added to their piece. So actually, that was kind of cool, though. I ain't had to do nothing to get 25%, y'all. That was actually kind of cool. So yeah, man.
So we've got somebody in here asking about mixing and mastering and the process on that. And I know, at least from us working together, I know there's some times where LeBron, you'll talk about having someone else do something because you're too close to the song, or stepping back or getting another set of ears or something on there. So they're asking, what's the benefit of having someone else to actually mix and master? Or is that something that you always do, or is it something where you step back sometimes? And that's for you too, LeBron. Like, what's your process on that end of things too?
You go first.
Well, I know for me, mixing is something that I've just really dove into it for the last year or so. And I know it's easier for me to mix somebody else's record because it's fresh to me. But if I've lived with something for 6 to 8 months and I'm just so into it, it's, for me, I like having a different set of ears on it to hear and to mix, because they may hear something like, oh, okay, to give me a different perspective than what I've been living with for 8 months. So if it's a record I'm producing, I like getting somebody else to mix it. Okay, and then it lets me hear it fresh with a fresh set of ears and move on. Now, the other end, if somebody else produces something and they want me to mix, then I can hear it different than what they heard. You know what I mean? But that's just kind of my take. I guess it just depends on the song and if I feel good about it. But I like getting somebody else to mix personally if I'm producing the record.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same way. I'm right with him. I was a mix engineer at one point, mixing different people's records, different artists' records and stuff. So the thing about mixing is just, it's very time consuming.
Yeah.
It's so, like, you be on the song for like hours and hours and days and days. And I'm like, I'm hungry. I gotta eat. I'm like, Blaze pizza. I gotta give me some pizza, y'all.
Yeah, I love pizza, bro. I love pizza.
I'm not to be sitting at the thing with this mouse in my hand all day.
Right.
Speakers are loud and trying to listen low and print this and go to the car and listen to it.
Right.
I'm like, over it, y'all. I'm not doing it. I'm going to eat. I'm going to eat. I'm going to hang, going to play some basketball. I'm going to watch. I can't do all that.
Yeah.
I was hungry doing that stuff, like hungry to mix, but it's just time consuming. But you know, I prefer, like, once I'm finished, just give it to the best mix engineer I can give it to and just relax and just enjoy hearing what you spent, like he said, months and 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 hours on. it kind of gives you a breath of fresh air, you know.
Yeah.
Just kind of give you that breath of fresh
And
air.
then,
So.
like for you, somebody who's busy all the time, that you're working on multiple projects, it's like when you're done with the production,
Oh yeah, you gone.
pass it off. Like you didn't even think about that mix no more. Like you're already on the next project. Like that record comes out finally, but you're already 3 more records along before that one ever comes out. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, that's the benefit. So that's why even if you're an artist, being able to, if you know you're going to do a project, try to start saving up before you go to a producer, because there are going to be expenses that you're going to have to pay for that you don't think about. Maybe you may think, oh, I'm going to pay for studio time, this and this, but you ain't thought about paying players yet. If you're a background vocalist, you ain't paid a producer and engineer. You ain't thought about mixing yet, mastering. You ain't thought about artwork, how you're going to package the product. You know what I mean? These things you have to think about. You know, money is a big deal. And when you have money, it just helps to move things along, you know what I mean? And you can get top quality things and not have to cut corners.
Yeah, and it's been eye-opening to me to kind of just watch, even sitting back and watching him work on production of other people's stuff, because you don't realize how much goes into the production side. Like I'll sit there, like, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, initially, there were some things he'd throw out a price and I'm like, good God, why is it so much? Like, that's a lot of money for one song. I just need one song done, you know, like, and then when after telling him, oh yeah, I want all the instruments in there, I want this, and this, call the best BGVs you can find. Don't point at me.
No, I'm not yeah, I'm saying that's a good point. I'm saying it's a good point.
From an artist side, you don't see, like, I'll come, you know, just to hear like something that he's worked on and look at all the details of what he's doing on that screen for hours and hours and think, oh God, it's 5 minutes in, I got to go, you know, but he can't go. And there has to be compensation for all of that time. It's not even just paying those other people. Right. It's paying them for the time they've spent. And you don't know how much that is or what it entails.
And for an artist, if you're an artist, you want the best representation of yourself. Yeah. Producers feel the same way. If we've agreed to work on your project, our name is going on the project. So the same way you say, hey, I want A, B, C, and D, and you want it to be great, you know, with $5 budget, you know, a producer's name is like, listen, I know what I'm going to do to make this sound great. Yeah. And I can't do that for $5 because if somebody else hears the record and they see my name on it, they think, oh, well, LeBron does $5 quality of work. And And that's not a good look as a producer, but the artist wants, you know, the greatest thing. So it's on both sides. You think I'm paying all this money, why I gotta pay all this money? But it's the detail behind the scene that nobody sees. When we're up at 3 a.m. in the morning, can't sleep, it's not sitting right in me, you know what I mean? And then you go to the car, the low end too much, or the vocal ain't in the mix hot enough, you know what I mean? It's just like, you know, it's back and forth. You're at mix 15 and it still ain't right. You know what I mean?
At home, sleep, eating good, watching Netflix. Right. And look, and I'm gonna bless you.
Bless us, Doc.
Then they're gonna win the award for the new year and don't say nothing about you. Right. Thank mom and daddy and all that. I ain't thought about Aaron, and I didn't tune vocals and shift guitars and line drums up.
Right, lock them up, Doc.
And I'm looking at the TV like, oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Right.
I mean, not even one. That was back in the day, but I've been blessed now. Back in the day, y'all, I was like looking at the TV like, what? I mean, I ain't hear nothing. Right. I don't want you to say my producer, I say my name, Doc. I need you to say it. Hey, Ron, clear. I need on that mic turned up. But, you know, at the end of the day, my mentor always told me, and this for producers, you know, and his way and my way is not the only way of doing stuff. It's just a way. He used to always tell me like, man, Aaron, you know, being a producer can be a thankless gig. Yeah. Thankless gig? What you mean? I'm over here doing all this stuff. You're like, man, they go up there and win them awards and they don't mention your name at all. So you can't do it for that. Right. You got to do it for your heart and with this right here. So if anything you ever heard me produce or, you know, write, you're going to hear the same standard. It don't matter if it's the top or if it's the indie artist, the standard, I'm using the same people, the same quality, you know, because I got a standard for myself. I don't want to hear no junk. Anytime somebody else's song come off the radio and you hear something I produced, the same standard, you're going to hear it. It's probably going to be a little bit better.
Right. I always know when Aaron produced the track. Listen, bro, I know your sound, dog. I say, yeah, that's Aaron all day.
I'm grateful, man. I don't take it for granted, man. I'm grateful. And it's hard work out here. It ain't this stuff being the producer and writing and all. It ain't easy because you're gonna get turned down so much.
Right.
Writing a song or, you know, trying to get a production. I mean, you know how many times people have said no, like, I don't want to use Aaron, I want to use such and such. And I'm just hurt. Y'all, I'm just hurt, crying, everything. I've been through all that. I mean, people not really understanding, you know, or sometimes people not understanding where you want to go with the production or where you want to go with the song. You can be writing with an artist, and you're like, man, that bridge is not right. I had to work hard to get to the point where I say something ain't right, and somebody be like, okay, cool. What you want done, Aaron? Because after a certain time, when you see your name at the top for a while, then people start giving you respect, you know. So I'm grateful for that. You know, y'all don't know. I don't take none of this for granted. It's like I'm telling y'all, when I get an inbox from somebody and they say, you know, I want you to produce a song, or, you know, first of all, I'm kind of nervous with the inbox because you got to try to figure people out, you know. And then somebody like, give me an email. I'm like, no, I give you an email. Send me whatever you got right here. But you know, you gotta grind. You're gonna get a whole lot of no's before you get a yes. You know, so you just gotta be prepared for that. But it's all God too, man. Whatever God has for you, it's gonna be for you anyway. So ain't nobody gonna stop it.
What I do love, you know, the interaction that we've had, at least of you like giving feedback on songs or stuff that we've worked on.
Yeah,
which,
man.
Side note, thank you.
Yeah, bro.
You know, we were talking about before you even got here. You know, one of the things that I said that the expectation that I have of someone that I work with on production is total honesty. Because if they're not honest and are just sugarcoating everything, that's not going to help me any, you know what I mean? As an artist, they're putting out something, but that's their name on it too. But I just want to say, you know, you said a minute ago, I'm going to be honest, and you've said that several times. And that is one thing that I think that makes your stuff so great, is that you are just super honest about saying, hey, this isn't going to work. I think you need to change this, you know, whatever feedback it was that you gave us, you know, it's super beneficial.
Absolutely. So, let me ask you a question, Aaron. So, when it comes to compromise between you and an artist, so from producer artist, let's say you are working through an idea and you have an idea of what it should sound like, and the artist has an idea. How do you have that conversation to compromise, be like, okay, we can kind of meet in the middle on this particular thing? Is it, you know, the artist is the one, if they've hired you, you know what I mean, you work for them, but how do you also let them know, like, this doesn't work musically? Or if they are headstrong on a particular melody or a lyric, you know, where do you compromise? Okay, we can do it like this. What does that look like, that conversation?
That's a very good question, man. A lot of times, without them knowing, I do both ways. So like if it's a music kind of vibe, they like, I don't really like that music part, so I'll change it to make it fit them. But when they're not there, I got another playlist up under it where I put the one that I like.
Right, right.
And so then, you know, after time, I'll just, you know, maybe when it comes to music, I'll do both of them. When it comes to writing and stuff, you know, with like lyrics and stuff, you know, I actually do the same thing. I ask them to do 2 passes of it. And then, you know, I let them sit at home and which one you like, which one you think. And so at the end of the day, sometimes, not every time, I'm wrong sometimes too, because sometimes they be having some better suggestions than what I have. But as soon as I know that theirs is better, I don't even argue. I'm like, cool, I'm with it. But it's like sometimes you get those people with the producer, I want it like this, I want it like this. So what I do, I just do both. I do multiple passes. You know, if it's just a section, if it's like a whole song, but then we gotta talk. But
right.
like a little bridge or something, I'll do both, and you know, until we got to get to the max of the song, and then, you know, hey, you remember this part right here? And I'll just play it in the speakers real loud. I'm talking about loud so they can feel it in their chest. And they'll be like, when did you do that part? I ain't remember that. Man, I'm like, man, we just felt it. We just vibing. All of a sudden, I got what I want for it. So, you know, just it's just kind of tactic ways as a producer to still get what you want. But one time, I can tell y'all this one story. When I was coming up, my mentor, his name is Sanchez Harley, and he worked with some of everybody. He the one got me in the game of producing. So when I tell you he worked with some of everybody, I'm talking about Aretha Franklin, anybody you think of, from gospel, Yolanda, it don't really matter who you talk about. So we did this song with Aretha Franklin, rest in peace, and it was a song with Aretha Franklin and Karen Clark Sheard. So we went to Detroit to go do her vocal, and it was just one set. Now I'm like the co-producer, but I'm like to him, I'm like intern. But to everybody else, I'm like the co-producer because I'm with him so much. It's like we married. But to him and me looking at him, I'm always like a little kid when he's around or when he's producing, because I'm just hungry to get better from what, you know, than what I am already. So Aretha come in there, y'all, she don't check the microphone or nothing. You just gotta have the microphone ready. So she just starts singing. She just walked in and started saying, the microphone better be up. It ain't no mic check, no nothing. So she walked in there, all right, ready. She put the headphones on. She knew the song now. She did her homework. She knew the song. It ain't like she had to fumble over words and that she didn't have no paper, no pen. She knew the song. So we get to this one part of the song after about 30 minutes. And he like, you know, Miss Franklin, could you go up on that note on the bridge? And she like looked at him like, dude, I'm Aretha. What do you mean go up? So I'm watching them now. I'm like, how you finna get Aretha Franklin to go up on this note? How you finna do this? I'm looking like, ooh, this is so good to me. But she looking like, oh no. So she finished the song, came in the control room under the speakers, so we all listen to it. So she's sitting in the chair. When that part of the song came over, he looked at her and was like this. Please. And she just rolled her eyes and was like, never. Like,
oh man.
I was like, you never getting that note. That's all I kept telling him in the car. You never getting that note, Doc. He never got it. So some people, they just, what you gonna do? What you gonna say? You know, people like that. But, you know, most people that's hungry, that's new artists, and they want it as best as they can be, you know, so, you know, they're lighting up.
I hope y'all notice that he just talking about Aretha like it's normal.
Yeah.
Like, that ain't normal to us, Doc. Like, you went with Aretha, Doc. I mean, Aretha.
Co-producer,
right. It don't matter what it is. If I'm a doorkeeper,
hilarious.
If I'm a doorkeeper, that's Aretha. He just talking about it like it ain't nothing.
Come on, man.
That's incredible, bro.
So I think we'll do about 2 more questions. I'm going to go one from an artist, for the artists on here, and one from the producers. I'm trying to kind of combine some of the ones that are in here. Mark, I know you asked about his process. Like, how do you establish a timeline for a project? As far as estimating up front, like for a single, what it is that they're wanting, how do you estimate or kind of give a timeline for stuff like that when you're talking to an artist?
Mark, that's a really good question. It's really only one word: money.
Bottom line.
Money. Because if the budget is, let's say $4,000 to do this whole track, you call me and I say, okay, I can do it for $4,000, and you give me the $4,000, boom, right then and there, that track gonna be done in 2 weeks.
Right.
2. That's cutting everything, the track, the vocals, because when you call the people, you're gonna say, yo, vocals, I got this track, I got the money right now. Who don't want the money? They're gonna be like, what? We doing it tomorrow. When you wanna do it? Tonight? So money is really what's, you know, what is your timeline, really. It's the money. Because after you finish the track, because I hate that. Once you do a track and then you ain't got the rest of the money, it's like, you got, as a producer, you got this big old song, this big old file on your computer just sitting in the corner the whole time. Just imagine you go to your computer every time you see Erica's song in the corner every day, all day for 3 or 4 years. What in the world? And then you put on a hard drive, like, fix it up. Then Erica call you like, hey, Ron, can we finish the song? Man, it's been on my computer for 3 months now. I just put it on a hard drive. It's like, whatever. It's like over it. So now as a producer, I don't do that no more, LeBron. I'm out of that season. Like, I can't, well, with indie artists, I'm out of that season. With label, artists, I'm still with, you know, in my agreements, I do 50% up front, then 75% after background vocals, and the other 25% for mixing. So in my agreements, with the national stuff is 50% up front, then the other 25% of the budget after I do background vocals, and then the other 25% while I'm mixing, because I ain't gonna give you all the files and I ain't got all my money. So while I'm mixing, you gonna know I'm mixing because I'm probably gonna fly out somewhere to mix or send it out and all that stuff. So you gonna know I'm mixing. So that's how mine is. But with indie artists, you know, I've been bitten so many times, bro, that, you know, I got to get the whole budget up front. So I would rather you just say, I'll say $4,500, and you say I got half. I can't do it. You say I got 80%. I just can't do it because I've been hit so many times by other people where I have to finish paying the budget.
Yeah.
I have to finish paying the musicians because I'm doing other songs with them. Like I'm doing Tom's record with the same musician that I owe from Erica's record. It's like, what? No. So I gotta like pay it out of my pocket, which I ain't got paid from you, you know, already. So now I'm like,
right.
Where's that money coming from?
Right.
Exactly. I still gotta eat. I got house, mortgage, insurance. I got all that. So at the end of the day, you know,
braces.
Braces that's cut my whole top lip, just tearing me up, y'all. Just, that's why I keep drinking this water, because my top lip terrible, about to bleed. You know? Woo! That's funny. I'm done. I told you I like to laugh, but
So I'm gonna be a little petty. Actually, I want you to be a little petty. What is probably your biggest pet peeve when it comes to artists, when it comes to working with artists in general? I know there's a million things that, like, I'm trying to consolidate questions. There's probably a million things that you could think of, but what is one thing that you're just like, why don't artists understand that they can't do this? Or this can't happen? Like, what is one thing that's just...
Oh, man.
Take your time, Doc. Take your time.
No, you too, friend. Don't include
You go first, Lee.
Just mind you, I'm not included in whatever he's about to say.
Okay. For artists, when you're talking to a producer,
okay, maybe it's me.
Our mind is let's work. From a producer's mind, our mind is let's work. I don't necessarily need to know all the history and how you prayed about it for 15 years and how it's time to do this. And then basically, I feel like you just set me up to tell me you can't pay me on my money. You know what I mean? You're trying to lure me in with a sweet story to get me on the hook and then be like, listen, I only have this much.
But the Lord told me that you about to produce this song.
No, you know what I mean? Just have your business fixed, tell us what you need us to do, and we'll rock and roll. That for me is a pet peeve. I don't need to know all the backstory. I mean, it's good. Now, if we're just writing, if we're writing solely, I'm doing no production. Yeah, okay, I want to know kind of how the song came to be, where your mindset's at, so I can kind of get into that flow if we're writing. But if I'm getting ready to produce, no need to know. Just gotcha. Let's go.
Man, if you didn't nail it on the head, I'm just gonna add another one. Like a lot of people, they be like, they'll say something like, you ain't gotta worry about the singing because my cousin and they can sing.
No.
You ain't gotta worry about the drums because my nephew plays drums. I got somebody that can do that. I'm like, I thought you called me to produce.
Right.
But that's the one thing I automatically say no to. Like, you can't choose who I want to do. I'm so sorry. Unless I know them and I know they dope and I know they got like some people can recommend some people that they want to use, and if I hear them on the track, like if I can hear them on doing this track, I'm like, cool, yeah, I'm cool using them. But it's sometimes I say no, and with a straight face, and I'm looking them right in the eyes, like no, can't do it. So yeah, just trying to get like family members or who you want to play or who you want to do, but just call them to do it. I can go home and I'm watching the game or something. I'm good.
Right.
I would rather say no, than have a headache, y'all. A headache. Ugh, can't do it, y'all.
reproducing the drums because you have to lock stuff up so tight and sample is like I'm basically playing drums. I look at them myself.
That's another 5 hours. That's a whole 24 hours doing that.
I can't do it, Doc. I can't do it.
Doing that, you know.
I can't do it.
Especially, and it's like that with writing. When you're writing a song, it's like, I mean, you gotta be like this one time, you know, a person, they gave me a song. It's like they do the first verse, popping. I mean, it's right. It's dope. They go to the chorus dope. And then they like go back to the same verse that they just sang the first time. Are you that lazy that you don't want to write a second verse? Are you that lazy? Don't cut yourself. You know, maybe you got to go a week or two to get that second verse or to be inspired by that second verse, but don't cut yourself on just that first verse just to be repetitious. Now, some songs you can do that, but like, man, I think that when artists do that, and or anybody, myself, I just think that we get lazy when we do that. Like, I think we can stretch ourselves just like you expect the producer to stretch and the musicians to stretch and the mix engineer to stretch and sound good. I think the pen is the same way.
Yeah,
or push yourself.
Or you start to think that there's one part, the chorus is so strong that it doesn't really need blah, blah, blah. Or you're depending on one part of the song to
carry
make it.
Right.
And then I've done that before, and then come to find out that ain't even the part anybody cared about.
Not even.
I'm sitting there like, but that bridge, y'all hear that bridge? And they're like, well, the chorus is really strong. You know, so as a songwriter, you know, making sure all those parts are strong, I think is super important. I can't get over that those are the things that y'all brought up about artists.
It's crazy.
I think that's so funny. Talking about backstories. Now I'm thinking back like, have I ever whole backstory of a song that I've written?
No, I mean, it's great. I mean, we love it, but you know.
No, you don't.
We ready to work. You know
I got a question for y'all.
Okay.
So what if somebody wrote a song, and the only part that you like of this song is the vamp? Mm-hmm. So do you write the beginning of the song, or do you just pass up on the song? But this vamp part is so freaking dope. It's like out of this world. You know that the nations are going to sing this vamp. When this vamp comes, the hook is just outrageous. It's cold. Do you just say no to the track, or do you like try to write the verses or to write the bridge? Or what do you do?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I actually have had somebody bring me that before. And I thought it was solid, super solid. And maybe I stretched the truth a little bit. But I was like, you know, I can already hear what should be at the top of it. I almost made it like it was written in my head, like I knew what was about to be there. That way it went just like me saying, oh, you need to trash all the rest of it and let's start from scratch. It was almost like I was trying to give them a little bit of hope, like, boy, let me harp on this vamp and be like, that I got a chorus that I'm feeling, it could go with it. And then, you know, try to build around that. But that's hard. That's hard, especially that honesty factor of having to tell somebody like, that whole if you gotta wait that long to get to the good part, ain't nobody gonna make it there.
Listen, if I believe in the song and it is like it's killing,
if the backstory is good,
I just have to have a conversation up front if they're willing to give and take. You know what I mean? Because if they're not, and the first part of the song is just like, when I first started in production trying to learn, I didn't really listen at all to lyrics. Like that is, I had to train my ear to like listen to lyric first and production, like kind of simultaneously, because my ear just naturally gravitates to progression, how it sounds sonically, like what's happening. You know what I mean? As a musician. Sure. But when I started writing, I had to like make myself focus on lyric. And if it's a song I believe in, like, yo, that vamp is killing. And if they are stuck and don't want to change nothing, that's tough, man. You know what I mean? I just have to kind of pass on it because if they're not, it's hard.
So kind of like I don't know, I was gonna say rhetorical, but that's not the word, but just to come back with a different question for you. So say that someone brings you a song, they've got a great voice. You know, there's always those songs, at least from what I can tell, watching LeBron do production on stuff, that there's some songs that you obviously feel more than others. Yeah. But you're just like, oh man, I know what I want to do, and this thing about to be crazy. But if someone brings you a song, they got a solid voice and all that stuff, and it's just one that you're just like, like whatever. What do you do to kind of motivate and still keep that same level of what you're trying to get done? I mean, I know, I'm just trying to think, I don't produce, but I'm trying to think on like the songwriting side, people that bring me stuff and I'm just like, it's not that great, but I have to make myself get excited about it to finish. So like, what do you do to motivate yourself to see that project through with the same energy that you would a song that you just wholeheartedly believe in?
That's very cool. That's a very good question too. Normally what I do with a song that it just ain't popping, and I can't hear what direction they need to go in, and the artist like really want to do it. I've been there before. One time I would just leave that song for the last thing I do. Like the last song. It's like the very last one. I've done a record where I've done 10 songs. And then that song was like the number 2 song. It was like, we want to do this song. And I heard it. I was like, ooh, that thing is wrong.
You're wrong.
They like such and such wrote it. I really want it on the record. I'm like, oh man. But so I was like, cool. I was like, man, this song ain't strong enough. So I just kept doing the other 9 or other 10. But so this was a live recording too, y'all. And then the week of the recording, now I've mapped out all 9 songs. I just didn't ever do this 10th one. I thought it was terrible. And what I did was I waited till I got around the other musicians.
Yeah.
So that way, they can inspire me a little bit more. Right. Sometimes I will go riding in the park or just listen to it in the car, but that ain't a lot of motivation. Now, if I get around a group of musicians that's dope, I'm like, y'all, I got this song. I may play them the demo and let them hear it with me. And so I'll start off on the chorus or something, but the drummer would do something to influence me to go on the up instead of the down. Right. And then once the bass player hit the one chorus one time, once he does it one time, I'm like, oh no, I know I want to go. Right. At the end of the day, and then I blessed them with a little pub off. Hey, here go a little pub, here go a little 5%, because they right. helped me influence my brain. Correct. Because my brain was cold on it. So I just got around a group of guys that's just as dope as I am, played it for them, because you got 6 ears now, So it's not just my 2. It's just now you got 6, or you got 8 now because you got 2 keyboard players. You got 10 because it's a guitar player. So everybody like bringing an element, and they don't want to play nothing that's wrong. They want to play something that's hot. So, I would just get around a group of musicians. I had another one like that too. It was a song that was really, really big for me. And the girl sent the voice memo, right? And it was like a little song like this, right? And I'm like playing it a weird way. And so I FaceTime my homeboy. I was like, hey man, I'm gonna send you this track. So I sent him the track via email. He downloaded it while we on FaceTime. I'm like, yo, if what you hear right here, and if what you hear, I'm gonna give you 15%. Just off cuff. I told him before he even started playing, I'm gonna give you 15%. So when he played something similar to what I did on the record, but once he played like 4 bars, I was like, oh man, stop, I gotta go. You got 50%, because just the way he played it, I was playing it on the downs, and he was going dun 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 dun, and I was going dun 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 dun, dun. He going dun 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 dun. So he made it like a little bit more bouncier, and I'm like, oh yeah, there we go. I'm good. Get off my phone. So I was done. Just helping getting some other ears, getting another perspective, and not being so mean about not sharing what you're gonna get. Like we're all gonna eat. You ain't gotta hope. Trust me, I promise you, if you share that little 15%, I ain't gonna preach. I'm done.
Go ahead, Doc. Go ahead.
I ain't gonna preach. I'm not gonna preach. But if I'm a witness, y'all know, because I'm a touring musician. I'm a traveling musician. Every weekend I'm out with an artist. So it's like not being out on the road. It was like, what? Not being on the plane? I ain't been on the plane since February. So it's right. So that's why you gotta have them other streams of income, being a producer and a writer, especially the writer. The writers, whoo, good God Almighty. If y'all don't think being a writer, that mailbox money, I'm telling y'all.
The mailbox money.
Y'all, that's a whole nother income by itself. By itself. And Lord, don't get with an artist that's like it, and you always have a single or always have something on the radio all the time or always having the top song. Lord, I'm just grateful, man. Yeah, I got emotional right here. I'm just I'm just grateful because at the end of the day, you got to look. You can't be stuck and happy where you are right now. Like my pastor was preaching the message one time, and he was basically saying that, you know, you don't, when you at home or when you're working, you just don't want to work for now. You want to have 8 months of your income. You want to have, you know, 1 year of your income. And y'all, I took that and ran with it. Like, I'm like, you said 8 months? And this was like 10 years ago. So you said 8 months? You tell me if I can't do nothing at one time, I gotta have 8 months? Like, I need to get to grinding. And y'all don't think I went grinding like never before? Never would have thought something like this would happen, you know, or anything. Anything can happen to you, not just COVID-19. It could be anything from an accident or whatever. You just gotta, that's a whole nother conversation, y'all. That ain't even got nothing to do with writers. That's just being smart in your mind and your brains, personal, you know, just.
Now, you're in Nashville, right?
Yeah.
You're in Nashville. Now, listen.
Come on now. Go ahead and say it.
We'll be there in April.
Okay.
A whole slew of us, so you can come by and talk to us anytime you want to, Doc. Come in.
Y'all just remind me, and I'm with it. Just remind me, and I'm with it. Sure.
Whole weekend, creatives coming in, learning about. We're trying to help like songwriters understand the importance of production when you're making your demos, and artists, the production when you're having stuff sent out, not just doing things halfway, or understanding the language that needs to be used when you're doing certain things. So that whole weekend is kind of geared toward, you know, us learning different things like that. So we're all going to be learning it, and yeah, we're definitely going to hit you up and see if that's definitely a time that you could come by. Before we head out, because we got like maybe 5 minutes, when you were talking about something earlier, it reminded me of a weird conversation LeBron and I had about how I asked him, you know, if you couldn't play keys or if you couldn't produce or anything like that, what would you do? Like, what is something else that you would do? And one of the things, you may not even remember this, but one of the things that he had told me was, you know, he's constantly thinking of how he can pour into the next group of producers or the next group of musicians or something to where you feel like you've left your mark on something, so that it gets to a point, even if you can't do it, you've trained somebody else to be able to do what it is that you're doing, not being selfish and stingy with your gift, but, you know, pouring into other people. So with that being said, I thought about maybe if you have maybe 1 or 2 things that you would like to say to the people on here that are starting out in production, or we have a lot of people that are trying, even songwriters trying to kind of dabble in stuff it looks pretty intimidating, of just trying to understand that side or that world. But is there anything that you would want to say, even thinking about like when you first started out, things for them to remember or stuff to hold on to, or pieces of advice? And LeBron, you too, here in a second, but just something that you'd want to share with the people on here that are doing production right now.
I mean, it may sound as the normal thing, but, you know, take the no's as a yes. You know, take the people saying no to you as, you know, as a yes, and make it, and just grow stronger. And I wouldn't hang your head, you know, just because of a no. You know, everybody gets rejected. Everybody, it don't matter who you think of, everybody has gotten rejected before. You know, you see these multi-millionaires, but man, they've been through, they have plenty of time. Just think the person who made the cell phone, or think about the person who made Apple. How many times they were told no? Or how many people that who made the tires? How many times they were like, no, we don't do no tires. We don't build planes. So at the end of the day, or, you know, we don't make speakers or hard. Dre beats. Just think Dr. Dre. Some people told him no about his ears or headphones and stuff plenty of times. Now you billionaire. Like, it's just, so just take, when people say no, I'll treat it as a yes. And just kind of like, you know, just, it should only make you stronger. The door closing shouldn't be the close of that opportunity. The door closing should just make you get an axe to hit it to make it go down, or kick it down, or use your foot to kick it down. You know, the door closing. Don't let that hang your head down. Because if I would have stayed where I was, you know, in Michigan, you know, and didn't take the chance to just move out of Michigan, I think I would have been stagnant. I wouldn't have been around what I needed to be around. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like me being in Michigan, I don't know who was doing what I wanted to do there. So I took a chance at after 2 years of college and just left. Like I'm like, Mom and Dad, can I go? My mom and dad gave me the okay. It wasn't no wavery and nothing. They believed. They knew I was hungry. So I went. Y'all, I didn't know how to write no checks because I was spoiled. My mama did everything. I didn't know anything about a bank account. I didn't know about no credit cards. This is like 2002. Like, I didn't know nothing about paying bills. I'm living with my mama and my dad. Like, I got a nice little car. I'm sweet. That's
it.
I'm sweet. But I knew that I didn't want to play basketball no more. Church was at a limit too. I was playing in church. It's like, I know it's bigger stuff out here than just this, you know, and somebody saw something in me and it was like, man, you know, I would love for him to go here and be my assistant. And what he would learn, and he told my mom, what he would learn in 5 years in school, what he would learn in 10 years or whatever in school, he would learn with 3 years with me. And so I traveled the world. I'm talking about everywhere you possibly can be. I will be in top record label meetings, and my mentor would be like, that guy right there, act like he's not in the building, act like he's not in this room. I will be in the room with all these executive people, and they in there cussing because the budget ain't right, or he went over budget. They like going in, and I'm just sitting there like, dang, it take all this. This is before we even get to the music part. Like, right. We ain't even got to what song we could do for this record. And back then, y'all, the budgets were like 100,000. Yeah. So I'm in the room with people, and you know, listening to the budget. Well, this budget needs to be 90,000. He's like, no, I need 100,000 because we need rental cars when we go down and do the live. I'm listening like, rental cars? What is y'all? I'm over here like on $120,000 to do 10 song album. Like, I'm over here, I'm just like the newlywed. So it's like, man, at the end of the day, you know, you got to be pushed. Let the door be your push at the end of the day, you know. And every time you do something, you got to do it from your heart. You gotta do it from your heart, and you got to do it as if everybody in the world gonna hear it. Because the last thing, I'm gonna talk y'all ear off, but the last thing I want to is to half step a song just because I ain't really care for the song, and then everybody like it, and it's number one, and I'm like, dang, I should have did this, or I should have done this, or I should have done this, or because right now today, it's a song that I've done. We never thought that would be a single. We never thought we knew it was a dope song, but we never would have thought it would be a single. And now we looking like, damn, that mug is high up there right now, you know? And we never would have thought. And just think if I would have been like, no, this song don't need this, or I don't need that, I would have been sick. You know, like, so at the end of the day, when you write a song, you gotta mean it. Because if it don't touch you first, you might as well forget about it. I'll be riding in the car and listen to a song, and I'm like, dang. Or maybe I have a little tear. I'm like, whoa. And if it hit me, right. I know I'm hard on myself. If it hit me first, I know it's gonna hit the audience, whoever I'm working with. It ain't have to be gospel, it can be R&B, whatever. It's a song is a song. It don't matter what it is, you know. At the end of the day, oh, Happy Day is one of the biggest songs. It's a great song. It's just it makes people feel good, you know. Right. So that's just my perspective.
Like, for the Right Around family too, Aaron, I appreciate you because first of all, anybody I talk to that knows you, just like how humble you are and just your attitude, your spirit, you know what I mean? That speaks volumes. You know what I mean? You can have 15,000 number one records, have 1,000 Grammys, Doves, and all the awards, Stellars, and everything, but that doesn't change who you are as a person. You know what I mean? And anything for me, that's the biggest turnoff is meeting people that you've looked up to or admired from afar, and then you meet them and they're jerks and they're arrogant and haughty and carry this thing on their shoulder. Like, I'm not with that. I'll never forget when I was young, I was like 13 years old, trying to learn how to become a better musician. I'm at a church service. This guy playing organ was killing. He was killing. And I'm just kind of sitting on the front row watching him, and he sees me. I'm a 13-year-old kid. He sees me watching him, and he quits playing all the nice stuff and just starts being like, you know what I mean? That made an imprint in me. Like, that did something to me. And I remember at 13 years old, I said, if I ever have an opportunity, I will never do that to anybody. I said, whatever I have, I will give it away. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which is why Water Rounds came about. You know what I mean? It took me 6 to 8 years to figure out. It shouldn't have took me that long, but people are just stingy and hateful, and they think that you're out to get them. Like, yo, I'm out to get you. I can't do what Aaron does. Aaron Lewis is phenomenal. You know what I mean? We're not in competition with each other. You know what I mean? Exactly. So for anyone, you know, you're trying to be something, I don't care how many Grammys you win, how many awards you win, accolades, remain humble. There's an H before that word, humble. And that's what we appreciate you, man. You know, for coming on, taking your time. Yeah, if y'all don't know who Aaron Lewis is, look him up. I mean,
this is our relationship right here, y'all. This is Aaron right here. You know, and last thing, my dad used to always tell me, because I used to be nervous about like sharing my sounds. And when I was younger, he was like, son, share what you have, because that's only going to push you to go to another level. Because if you keep doing the same thing, they're gonna get tired of you. Right. So why not tell you how I do this, or why not tell you how I do this, or why I use this sound, or why that? Because when you start doing that, I want to go another. I gotta always, you know, I want God to take me to the next level, another level. You know, not even the next level, because I don't want to be the next. I want to be another one, because after that, it's another one. And after that, it's another one. So at the end of the day, that's why I don't mind, man. My dad installed that in me, man. Just don't be afraid to tell people how you do stuff, because you want a different and better way. You want God to push it back down and give you something fresh. So at the end of the day, man. So
my parents said a lot of stuff similar to that too, talking about even that being a musician's tithe is what they called it. Like, you tithing into other people, or giving that leaves room for something more. Yep. So, you know, of course you think of your money when you think of tithe, but my dad was always like, you know, your gift. Because I would come back and be like, I didn't even get paid for doing that, man. You know how many hours I went and sang at this church and did this? Ain't nothing cut. He was like, you know what? You're tithing in to give all. You're doing part of that.
That's me. You might see me Instagram that. I gotta put that in my story.
But I love it. I love it. Your musician's tithe, or I think that was what you call it, something where you just tithe more than just finances. Because as you share, you're releasing more room for more to come in.
Yeah.
That's cool. I just wrote that down. That is cool. Musician's tithe, God. Golly. That's amazing. That's so big.
But I love it. You definitely tied into us tonight.
Yeah, man. We appreciate you, bro.
Sure.
We appreciate it.
I'm honored, man. That's why I had to come sneak on here and see what y'all was doing early. She was like, come around 8. And y'all almost missed it, because I didn't look at the email and it said Eastern time. I was like, oh my God. It was getting close.
Because I forget, we've got some people on here from London. They're up right now at what, 2:30 in the morning?
Yeah.
3 o'clock?
Oh, Jesus. I would have never, oh my God, I would have been terribly jacked up. But then I saw the email and said Eastern Standard. I was like, but I'm in Central, because Nashville Central time.
You're right.
I'm grateful. Nice to meet all y'all, man.
Dude, thank you, Aaron, for real, bro. We appreciate that for real, man.
Thank y'all for all the questions and stuff. Y'all seem pretty dope too. I don't mind if y'all want me to listen to something, or y'all can send something to my Instagram or Facebook or whatever y'all want me to check something out. Just don't
look him up, Aaron Lewis. You'll be blessed.
Just don't pressure me into listening to it right then and there.
Right.
Give him some time.
Right.
But if you send it to me, you gotta put something in the email, that way I know you was on this thing.
Yeah.
Right. Riding round. Put subject, riding rounds, and I'll listen to it. Now I'm only gonna listen to one thing. Now don't give me 2 and 3. I'm gonna listen to one.
Right.
Y'all with me? Y'all not? Y'all with me? I'll listen to one thing. Y'all send something, and I'll be truthful to you. I'm like, no, yes, but if you ain't got right around in there, I'm not gonna listen to it. I don't even get notifications to that stuff. I literally have to go and go see it, like go see the messages. So you put that in there, I'll listen to it. You got a week. After a week,
It's
don't
done.
worry about it.
It expires in a week, so take advantage of it. But yeah, especially the producers in here, send some, get some feedback, and expect honesty. That's part of the business. You just got to be ready to hear exactly how it is and take it as constructive and use it and change whatever you need to. But yeah, Aaron, thank you so much.
Thank you,
This
bro.
was awesome. The next time we do something, I promise I'll capitalize the R in your name.
Oh, y'all, I gotta tell them real quick. She put that flyer out and she put a lowercase r in my name, y'all. I hate it. That's worse than all the other stuff I told y'all today.
He felt so fast and said, hey, I'm cool. The next time you do something, can you please capitalize that R in my name? LeBron does the same thing with a B in his name. So,
oh, jeez. No, it's all good. We straight.
But yeah, so Aaron, you want them to send it to your Instagram, correct, or email? How you want them to do that? I don't want to be giving out all your stuff.
No. They can. What you can do is this is what you can do. You can play your song on like the speakers or something and record it on your phone, or in the chat or in the DM. You know what I'm saying? So you know how you send a message voicemail. So instead of trying to find an attachment, play the speakers in your car or play the song in your car. Just record it like that. Record it for like a minute or two, and I'll listen to it and I'll give you feedback on it.
Would it be easier if we sent you something, if they send it to us and we send it to you, or would you rather do the Instagram way? Either one's fine. I'm just trying to.
You don't want to have to deal with all that. They only got 7 days from now.
Y'all only got 7 days.
7 days.
I'm telling you, after the next Friday, and I see riders around on what's the day?
It says the 25th, Friday the 25th.
So it's going to be the second. Is it going to be the second?
Yep, October 2nd.
So if I see something on the 3rd that say riders around, I'm just going to swipe and delete. I'm not even going to answer it. I'm telling you right now. I'm not going to answer it.
Special, take advantage.
I'm telling y'all, so don't be Aaron acting funny and all that.
Nope. He acting funny.
Nope. You already know I'm struggling with my braces and stuff already. So
lips all cut up.
They just rigid. They terrible. Oh my God. But no, y'all. It was a pleasure. This was fun. I'm always nervous doing this stuff, but you know, I was so nervous. Like I had stuff written down just in case I forgot something. But
plenty of stuff saved too, just in case.
But y'all made it easy, Ron. Just thank y'all.
No, thank you, bro. For real, we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Y'all made it easy, so I don't mind. This is cool. Somebody in the chat put "Thank you, Aaron," and they put lowercase r. Let me see who it is. Who is Andrew Thomas?
Block from Instagram. Do not let.
Who is Andrew? Let me see who is Andrew. Andrew, can you change it? Can you put like capital R?
Karina, that was you.
Boom. Tandrick said, "Hey Lou, what's up, man?"
Hey Lou.
No, man. No, Drew, we good. That's when you send the DM, make sure you put the capital R. Y'all ain't got the capital R. I ain't answering. I'm telling you now again. Y'all know that's my pet peeve. Y'all like family. No, that's my pet peeve. We cool. But if I see a lowercase R in there, you ain't got to put the apostrophe. But if you put a lowercase R, I'm delete. I'm back.
Hey, we'll have him tagged in some stuff on Instagram. You know, we stay on Instagram. He's also tagged in the post on there. So go find him, look him up. They're getting your name right now, though. Go ahead and, yes, that's exactly what he's talking about, potential of a track. So he'll give you honest feedback, whatever it is you send to him. Don't expect him to listen to 85 songs, send one. Find your best one, send it in.
Yes.
Yep, send it.
Yeah, you guys are great. We love you so much. Thank you, Aaron, for coming on.
Thank you, bro.
For sure. All right.
Y'all have a good night. Hey, catch us round 1 next Friday. Songwriting starts back, our first round 1. Sign up for your sessions. Got some cool hosts coming in.